with Johnny Gargano not expected to appear for AEW in the immediate future, and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for March 1st. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at WrestlingHubOfficial, and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. With AEW set to have 2 shows in Southern California, one will be held at the Los Angeles Forum, which Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio is a tough venue to sell wrestling tickets for. WCW in 98 and 99 had big sellout level crowds at the Forum, so it's been done. In the 60s, when Vern Gagne went there with the AWA, they didn't draw well at all, with really loaded, stacked shows and local TV. Jim Crockett Promotions and local TV, this would be like 86, 87, 88, and they did not draw well. I was at the first one that did a little over 7,000. It was considered a pretty decent showing, 7,000 people at the time, but then the subsequent ones were way down. And then WWE, they had one big one with Hogan and John Studd, but I think their second biggest was the one with Lesnar that did 8,000, and most of them, they were as low as 2,500. AWA was much lower than that. I think that Crockett was down to about 2,500. I know that they did one show where they did $1 tickets and had a little over 5,000. If AEW draws more than 8,000 people for this show at the Forum, and I think they probably will for the first one in the market, they will have done better than just about everyone except WCW in history, including many big promotions that had local TV and were also running their first show in the market. AWA a little before its peak, Jim Crockett Promotions at its peak, so if they go and do about 6,000-7,000, then they're about where Crockett Promotions was when they started. So it's a tough building historically to draw in, but we'll see how they do. WrestleMania 38 will be in Dallas, as Kevin Owens has been seen disrespecting the state of Texas on programming and on social media. With reports of KO getting ready for a Mania feud against Stone Cold Steve Austin, JBL said a Hall of Famer needs to shut him up. Kevin, WrestleMania, the stupendous 2-night extravaganza, the greatest of all time. It's gonna be in Dallas, the home of the Von Erichs, the Freebirds, Scandrack Bar, Gary Hart. We have a very simple message for you. We don't want you, we don't need you, we don't like you. Do not come to the great state of Texas. It won't end well for you. I hope next week in your match with Seth freaking Rollins, you lose. I hope you're watching this and you walk into an open sewer somewhere and get stuck there until midsummer. I also hope that you have a terrible day. Talking about their back and forth in-ring promo segment from Dynamite last week, Jim Cornette noted on his show how Chris Jericho's ego hurt Eddie Kingston's moment. Jericho even did a good job at this, especially if he will be turning heel and not just being a wise ass. And Kingston was good, though they made a mistake at the end that I think could have been corrected. I think it may have been due to Jericho's outsized ego. He thinks he's the star and the straw that stirs the drink. But when Kingston said, "Do not give the mimosa match, Chris, just do not give me the foolish Chris Jericho, give the Jericho that did this and did that," he basically said, "Give me the Jericho we all came to respect and not." That should have been the last line. With news of Vince McMahon having a feud and WrestleMania match against Pat McAfee, Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio that Austin Theory should be involved. Theory is coming to the interview, that's what he said. I'm sure Austin Theory is going to do the work, do the heavy lifting, but if it's Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee, there is zero marquee value in that match. It's like, why even do it if you're advertising it? The match might be good, it might not be good. That's not the point. The point is, it's WrestleMania, and nobody would give a crap about Austin Theory with Pat McAfee. Vince McMahon and Pat McAfee, people will probably. I don't know. I don't know about the intrigue of a 76-year-old guy wrestling, but obviously they think so because that's one of the big stops they're pulling out is Vince in a match. After having some incredibly low attendance numbers in December for Madison Square Garden, WWE is pulling out all the stops to fill up seats for their upcoming show at MSG. It would be noted on Wrestling Observer Radio that Ronda Rousey is playing a big role in moving tickets. They had the Lesnar and Roman Reigns contract signing, they had Ronda Rousey who is drawing people right now. The house shows over the weekend did big last couple of days after Rousey was announced, and these were shows. Rochester on Sunday was dying until about a week ago. It was in the 2000s and ended up at like 4,600. I mean, they had a great last couple days. We'll see if that happens to the Garden. The Garden was at 5,600 as of the last time I checked. That is the most pushed house show. When was the last time they ever pushed a house show like that? Talking about WWE's booking on his podcast, Matt Hardy said he believes the company overuses DQ finishes for matches. I definitely 100% agree that WWE overdoes DQs without a doubt. There are times where you could either put heat on the heels and have some other heels interfere, or you could have a great kick-ass match where the babyface valiantly overcomes the heel. And then you can have the heel always do something to get heat on him after the fact if you want to continue the story. They're just done a lot of times for protection to keep people strong or to continue a story. Once again, I feel like fans are so knowledgeable about the wrestling product in 2022. They want to see a clean finish, and they want to feel like they're being rewarded for watching this angle or story. They want to be paid a proper finish. Speaking to Ryan Satin of Out of Character, Kevin Owens talked about his steel cage match against Edge at MSG in December, revealing he got the bout on short notice. Man, that was awesome. We had 2 days notice. I found out on Christmas Eve that was going to happen. That was a real thrill. We've been talking about wrestling each other for so long since he came back. Who knows if we'll get to do it again? I certainly hope we will get to do it again. But even if we don't, main event of MSG in a cage, and we rocked it. It was a lot of fun. Great times. Something I would look back on very fondly for a very long time for sure. Before his match against Eddie Kingston, Jericho spoke to Fight and Focus recently, mentioning that he doesn't want much before he hangs up his boots. When I'm done, there's not going to be a retirement tour. There's not going to be a big pomp and circumstance. I'll be done. I'll go somewhere else and do what I want to do. Right now, I'm in the best shape of my life. We have a really good story going on with Eddie Kingston that has a lot of layers to come. To me, that's enough to sit back and enjoy myself. When I'm enjoying myself, there's no reason to change anything. After winning the NXT title in late August from Karrion Kross, former WWE star Samoa Joe would relinquish the belt a month later, with him revealing the reason behind this on Busted Open Radio. I popped for COVID. It was the weekend, my wife was making stew and I couldn't smell it. She said, "Wow, doesn't that smell great?" I tested positive on Saturday. By then, Vince wanted to go in a different direction with NXT, and he wanted to have the new opening with NXT 2.0 be with a bang, and I agreed with him. I said if that's the case, this is probably what's best for what your vision is for this product. I went behind the scenes and started working with talent on a one-to-one basis, pulling guys individually in open gyms, working with them, and focusing on these new tremendous prospects were brought in and people that were hungry to learn and excited about this newfound opportunity. It was invigorating for me. When you're working with younger talent that are hungry and want to succeed on a high level, it amps up your own spirit. I was delving into that heavily, working with Matt Bloom on revising things, training techniques, and evaluating what we were doing already and seeing if we could do it better. That was really the end of my tenure at WWE. RK Bro faced the Street Profits in a tag team match on Raw where Randy Orton had an injury scare. Following the bout, Jacob Benjamin noted on Twitter that Randy Orton was favoring his right shoulder. He, Riddle, and the referee walked off the stage. All other wrestlers walked back through the tunnel tonight. Montez Ford would note following Raw that everyone is healthy, so hopefully Randy is not seriously injured or hurt. Despite reports of WWE having no plans to push him as a single star, Finn Balor was able to beat Damian Priest on Raw last night to become the US champion. Shortly after his victory, Priest would attack Finn, as Vince Russo said on Legion of Raw that WWE should have done this differently. Honestly, here is what is worse than anything else. And again, I'm sitting in a writer's chair. They haven't done crap all with Finn Balor for how long? He finally wins the title on television, and rather than give the guy his moment for this week, you totally take it all away by having Priest attack him. What are you thinking? You have done nothing with Balor. In order to re-establish him and get him over as a babyface, you let him have his moment here. You want to get the heat. You get it next week. You don't let him win the title and then just take it right away. All of this is Wrestling 101. While he is a free agent and taking bookings for appearances from independent promotions, former WWE star Johnny Gargano may not be making his way to AEW in the immediate future. As Meltzer pointed out on Wrestling Observer Radio, don't expect him. Apparently don't expect him in AEW in the next month or so. I know people were expecting it any week now. Jeff Hardy should be in relatively soon. Shane Strickland should be in soon. I don't know of anybody else off the top of my head coming in just yet, but I think that there will be more. That's pretty much what's going on there. With Corey Graves and Carmella set to star in a reality series, Carmella talked to Bleacher Report about incorporating aspects from their real-life relationship into WWE storylines, saying, "I mean, there are a few things I can think I would enjoy doing on TV, maybe like recreating the Edge and Lita scene." Corey Graves would add, "If it comes to it, awesome. It's not something we're actively fighting too hard for, but I think, to me, the best storylines in sports entertainment throughout history have been based in reality. You think like Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth, but we're in a different situation where I'm a commentator, not an active competitor. She's an active competitor, so it's a different scenario as opposed to having two in-ring competitors or whatever that may be. But I think if the opportunity presents itself, we'd both be more than happy to jump because I think we can both provide some entertainment. Let's be honest, who's easier to hate right now than Corey Graves and Carmella?" With Raw taking place in Columbus, Ohio last night, Alexa Bliss was not on the show to appear in her hometown. This caused many to ask where she is, so here's some of the reactions. "I made this poster, but we want her alive, not dead. WWE didn't have Alexa Bliss on Raw in her hometown last night. Raw, y'all are nasty. Where's Alexa? Saw lots of people wearing Alexa Bliss gear there tonight, including myself. They would have popped big time for you. I agree, where's Alexa?" Former UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez was arrested yesterday and booked into Santa Clara County Jail for attempted murder. With the motive and other details unclear, we'll be sure to keep you posted on this. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.